Well, hello, this is Pastor Russ, and now it's another time for our hymn sing, where I tell you a little story about a hymn, and then we sing. I sing the hymn, and hopefully you sing along. Today's hymn is called "Leaning on the Everlasting Arms," a great hymn, and it was written by a person who was both a musician as well as a minister. His name was Anthony Showalter. He was a music professor who went around rural America teaching music back in the late 19th century. He did get some help from a friend of his, Reverend Elisha Hoffman. And if I continue, I need to tell you a little bit of the background of the music situation at this time. This hymn was written in 1887, and in that time in American history, there were very few printed songbooks or hymn books in America. And so during church time, the congregations depended on people called choristers who stood up and led the congregation in the singing of hymns, depended on them to lead the singing and to help them with the words and the tune of the songs. The choristers actually sometimes even called out the words, and the congregation would follow after them. And few people knew how to read music, as music was rarely taught in schools at that time. And so later on things changed, and there was an increase in the printing of songbooks. And so one of the music masters who responded to the call for people to go out and to lead people in music was a Professor Showalter, who actually wrote the words and the music to this hymn. So one day in 1887, Professor Showalter found himself in the state of Alabama teaching music for a brief period. And after the class, he left for the boarding house where he was staying so he could rest. Now, waiting for him at the boarding house were two letters from his former music students in South Carolina. As a coincidence would have it, both were informing him of the sad news that they had both just lost their wives. Well, the verse he wanted to use to console them is really the verse that was the inspiration for this hymn. It's Deuteronomy chapter 33, verse 27, that says, "The eternal God is your refuge, and underneath are the everlasting arms. He will thrust out the enemy from before you and say, 'Destroy.'" Now, before he decided to send the letters out, he felt it might be better to compose a song instead, based on this verse. And so he wrote the words to the song, at least the chorus to the song: "Leaning, leaning, safe and secure from all alarms, leaning, leaning, leaning on the everlasting arms." He sent this chorus out to a friend of his, the Reverend Elisha Hoffman in Pennsylvania, who added the verses for this beautiful hymn. And then Professor Showalter, receiving those words back, put the music to the song that we have today. And this is how the song that we have today has blessed many grieving souls over the years and how it came about. So I'd like to sing it for you now. "Leaning on the Everlasting Arms." What a fellowship, what a joy divine, leaning on the everlasting arms. What a blessedness, what a peace is mine, leaning on the everlasting arms. Leaning, leaning, safe and secure from all alarms. Leaning, leaning, leaning on the everlasting arms. Oh, how sweet to walk in this pilgrim way, leaning on the everlasting arms. Oh, how bright the path grows from day to day, leaning on the everlasting arms. Leaning, leaning, safe and secure from all alarms. Leaning, leaning, leaning on the everlasting arms. What have I to dread? What have I to fear? Leaning on the everlasting arms. I have blessed peace with my Lord so near, leaning on the everlasting arms. Leaning, leaning, safe and secure from all alarms. safe and secure from all alarms, leaning, leaning, leaning on the everlasting arms. Well, I hope that song blessed you as it has blessed me many times over the years, and I hope that you too can lean on the everlasting arms of God. So this is Pastor Russ saying so long until we can see you again. Amen.